Hi, my name's Hannah, and I'm going to tell you about the story that I wrote. It's called How the Best Day Turned into the Worst Day. No, 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 I want a muffin, I yelled at my mom. No, I said no, my mom yelled. Now, get your waffles. And then she said back to me, fine, I thought to myself. Thanks a big one for making my day turn into the worst day ever. When we got to school, Mr. Solish was sick, and for one half of the day, Mrs. Adair was the sub, and the other half was Mrs. Nellis. So that took my mind off the muffin incident. Next, we had history. Oh, how I love history. Who wants to share their stories? Mrs. Adair asked. Oh, I want to share my story, Mrs. Adair. I want to. Kayla and I yelled at the same time. I'm going to share my story first, Kayla said. Alright, so in my story, blah, 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 Kayla started to say. I was supposed to share. After lunch, I asked Ryan and Luke to beat up Caleb, but of course they didn't. They said that only they would do it for only $9,999,999,999.99. Yeah, sure, like that's going to happen, guys. The only person that has that money is the president and Bill Gates, so they wouldn't do it. Now this is the worst day ever in the history of days. It was a half day, so Nico and I walked home, and I had to babysit him. I want candy, I want money, I want, Nico started to yell. Quiet, I'm trying to listen to my spelling for homework, I yelled back. Then Nico threw a ball at me. Ha ha, Nico said. I'm home, my mom called. Mommy, Hannah threw a ball at me, Nico said. What? No, I didn't. He did, I yelled. Room, now, my mom yelled at me. I could just see this being the worst day ever in the history of days. Hannah, get in the shower, my mom yelled. Whoosh. I washed my hair and I put the conditioner in. Oh my gosh, there's mold in my conditioner. Great. After the mold incident, I was going to bed. 9/11. I guess I'll make my wish. Well, if I could have anything in the world, it would be that there are no rules, laws, or anything that has to do with that. 9:12. The next day, I woke up. Oh my gosh, it's 9:12 in the morning. Why did my mom wake me up? Why didn't my alarm go off? Why is it still dark outside? Where's Nico, Mom, and Dad? Whatever. Mom, can I have a muffin after I get ready? I yelled. Whatever you want, as long as no one took it, she said back. Okay, that was weird. Well, shake it off. Well, I can finally have my muffin. Where is it? Wait, is it stolen? Ugh. Where did school go? I yelled. No one answered. So I just walked to school in the rain. Great. Beep beep. Hannah, want a ride? I just got a brand new blue Mustang with purple stripes and purple leather. Can't pass this off or up, Emily yelled. Where's Nicky? Is he with you? I don't know. I don't know. But I think that the boys are in La La Land, Emily answered. But can you answer my question? Are you going to come or not? 10, 9, 8. Yes, okay, I'll come, I answered. So after that, we went to school. Oh, yeah, we have Mrs. Nellis and Mrs. Adair for our sub today, I said to Emily. I don't think so, Emily replied. Richie, quiet, pink shirt. Stop playing with your pencil. Mrs. Wagner said, Yippee, now this is the best day ever, Emily said, but in a sarcastic way. Then it was time for We the People, or WTP. It's my fave subject. But then when Maddie started to leave, then Kendall, and then Allison, and then Stacy, then Nicole. Wait, we can leave? I asked in a whisper. What are you talking about? Mrs. Wagner said in a whisper voice. What are you talking about? Mrs. Wagner said, playing along in a whisper voice. No one is leaving. Get in your seats. Now. Where's Ricky. Richie. Mrs. Wagner, I think it's Dimitri, not Richie or Ricky. Emily said. Go sit in the corner and think about what you just said. Mrs. Wagner yelled at Emily. But she didn't do anything wrong. She was just... I started to say, you, quiet. Now, children, you need to learn your manners. Stop being rude and be thankful that you have an amazing sub like me. Now, quiet, Mrs. Wagner yelled. Ring, ring, ring. I'll get it, I said. No, you have to go sit in a corner, Mrs. Wagner said. That's all to do then. That's all to do them, Mrs. Wagner mumbled. Yes, yes. Well, I don't care how loud I am. It's your fault that you were in the primary door that you were at the primary door, Mr. Badney. I'm not fired. Hello? Hello? Bang. Mrs. Wagner slammed the phone back on its hook. Go get the laptop cart, Mrs. Wagner yelled at me. But it's not even my job. It's I started to say, but then when Mrs. Wagner cut me off, I don't care. Get it. So I went to get the laptop cart, and I was going into Mrs. A's room when the kids weren't there. The teachers, or kids, or anything. All except for a post-it note and lots of things in the ground. So I read the post-it note. It said, I'm sorry that you have Mrs. Wagner for a sub, but I called her. I told Mrs. Nellis and Mrs. Adair that you were in our class, Emily. So I told Mrs. Wagner who you were, and I wanted you to take this responsibility. Oh, FYI, I'm sorry that you have to have Mrs. Wagner at your sub. I'm not sorry. I have Mrs. Nellis and Mrs. Dare. So, ha, 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 ha. Nick. P.S. If found, give to Emily G., Mr. Solar's, Mrs. Wagner's room, 138. Oh, great, I thought. Now I have to clean up all the laptops. Where are the laptops? Mrs. Wagner yelled from across the hall. I can't get them. They are what? Mrs. Wagner said. Never mind, I yelled. Then I ran out the door and I started to run home in the cold. I ran and went into my bed. I started to cry. Hannah. I woke up and Nico was calling me. Phew, now I know what life would be like if there were no rules, laws, or government. Thanks for watching. Bye.